Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going over the Detroit Lions and what they should do with their first round pick. Before we get started, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I would really appreciate that. That would help my channel grow. And with that said, I hope you enjoy the video and let's dive right into it. So this is how this video is going to go. Basically, I'm just going to go through three options that I think the Detroit Lions need to look into in the 2021 NFL Draft. And option number one is go get a franchise quarterback. Okay, the rumor mill has it that Matt Stafford will not be a Detroit Lion next year. They're going to try and work a trade for him, send him away, ship him off, and he's been the franchise guy for the past 10 plus seasons. So that's definitely a hard thing to do. I mean, it's not easy to basically see your past 10 years just go out the door. But number one, maybe go out and get a franchise quarterback. And right now, the Detroit Lions are sitting at pick number 7. Okay, they're sitting at pick number 7. So Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be there. Maybe a guy like Justin Fields or a guy like Zach Wilson might fall to you, but that's no guarantee. However, what I said is go get a franchise quarterback. I didn't say draft a franchise quarterback. I said go get a franchise quarterback. And that means that, one, maybe go trade up for a first-round pick. Go trade up with the Dolphins. Go trade up with a team like the Jets. Go trade up and go get your guy if you truly believe in one guy. And I'll break down the quarterback prospects. I mean, the guys that you're really looking at if you're the Detroit Lions are basically, I don't think you're going to be able to have a chance at Trevor Lawrence, but maybe you have a chance at Zach Wilson or a guy like Justin Fields. Those guys might not even pass 2, right? One of them will probably go to the Jets at 2. Maybe Trey Lance, if you like Trey Lance a lot, he'll probably be available at 7, or Mac Jones. But I don't think Mac Jones is the guy you really want. Lance is a little raw. You probably couldn't play him. I mean, you could play him this year, but the results wouldn't be what you wanted to see. I mean, it'd be like a Josh Allen rookie or second year. It wasn't really exactly what teams were hoping for, or what the Bills were hoping for. I see Trey Lance as a very similar prospect in that regard. But a guy like Zach Wilson or a guy like Justin Fields are real options for the Lions. At 7, it's a little bit of a stretch for me to say that there's a definite guarantee for a guy like Fields or a guy like Wilson to fall there, but it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely an option. There's definitely a possibility for it. I just think that a lot of quarterback-needy teams, teams like the Washington football team, teams like the Chicago Bears or the Indianapolis Colts, will look to trade up. So the Lions are going to have to be aggressive if they truly want to go out and get a franchise quarterback in this draft. However, of course, with their second or third round picks, they could also get some other quarterbacks later rounds. But if you're seriously all in about trading Matthew Stafford, getting a franchise quarterback is a big deal and a must-do if you're the Detroit Lions. Another thing that they could do, option number 2 for me, is go get a wide receiver, okay? This offseason, Kenny Golladay is going to be a free agent. Marvin Jones Jr. is a free agent. And I think Danny Amendola is a free agent too. Don't quote me on that, but I know that Golladay and Marvin Jones Jr. are free agents. So you need a wide receiver. I mean, that's a definite need. However, there's really 3 guys that you could really look at drafting at number 7. Devonta Smith, Ja'Marr Chase, and Jaylen Waddle. Ja'Marr Chase is probably the best pure pass catcher in the draft. I personally prefer Devonta Smith the most because of what he was able to accomplish as the Heisman winner last year. The only thing with Devonta Smith is he's a little bit undersized, but that hasn't given him any problems in college, and I don't think it's going to give him any problems at the NFL level. He's got legit speed. He's got great quickness. He's got great feel for the game. Has great hands. All of that. Ja'Marr Chase is great too. He's a great route runner. Has the deep elite speed that you're looking for. But another guy that you could also look at number 7 is a guy like Jaylen Waddle who can really stretch a defense. Personally, I don't like taking speed and deep threats in the first round. Typically, they haven't really worked out that well. I mean, if you look at a guy like John Ross, that's a perfect example. Ran a very fast 40 time, flew up the draft board, and he was pretty much a bust. Even a guy like Hollywood Brown, who, the Ravens' number 1 receiver, I don't know if he's really worth a first-round pick. And I think Jaylen Waddle's a little bit different. He's a different kind of speed, but I just don't love Jaylen Waddle in that regard. I think Devonta Smith or Ja'Marr Chase, if you're going for a receiver and you truly believe you need a receiver, which the Lions will do at some point this offseason, then you go get a receiver. But, I mean, if you go quarterback at number 7 and then in the second round or the third round you go, I mean, there's other good receivers that are going to fall into the second round. Maybe you trade up for one of them, guys like Kadarius Toney, Rashad Bateman, Rondale Moore, there's some guys that could definitely be impact players to add to this Detroit Lions roster. But you definitely are going to need receivers at some point this offseason, if that's through free agency or through the draft. And finally, option number 3 is draft defensive help. Okay, so really this would happen if Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and a guy like Jamar Chase or Jaylen Waddle or Devonta Smith is off the board, which is kind of unlikely. But even though defensive help is something that's going to be needed for this Detroit Lions team, the only thing is I don't think this is a great draft for top-end defensive talent. Most of the big names in this draft, the big guys that I think could be really impact players in the NFL, are all offensive weapons, either the quarterbacks, offensive linemen, wide receivers, even running backs. Those are the guys that I think are going to go high. Not necessarily running backs. Running backs don't typically go that high. But I think that, Devonta Smith and Penei Sewell and Trevor Lawrence, those are going to be the guys that are going to go really high. The quarterbacks, the offensive linemen, the wide receivers, those are really quality positions. The best defensive player in this draft is probably Micah Parsons, and he might fall to number 7. There has been some concerns about character issues with him, so that might be a reason why he falls all the way down to 7. But I think that would still be a really good pick for a team like the Detroit Lions that definitely needs a true linebacker in the heart of that defense. There's other good linebackers in this draft too. Definitely maybe later on in the second round. But at the end of the day, I think that, if you're going to go with a linebacker, Micah Parsons is the guy to do it at number 7. However, maybe you go for an edge rusher or a defensive tackle, defensive lineman. Definitely the defensive line is something that needs to be upgraded, just like the linebacking core needs to be upgraded. This defense needs a whole new transformation defensively. They were not good enough last year. They got absolutely burned game in and game out, and they just need to get better. Micah Parsons is just a great football player, really, really good what he was able to do at Penn State. And I think he could be a great player for that Detroit Lions team. However, there's other good defensive players in this draft. Greggory Rousseau probably is not worth a top 10 pick, but he would be a great edge rusher. I don't think the Detroit Lions need a corner, right? They're pretty set in that situation. You can always add extra corners, but I don't think that's a good move, especially with the corner depth that's currently on the roster. And then maybe, I already referenced the second round for the Detroit Lions. Maybe go getting a guy like Chaz Surratt, another good linebacker. If you want to do and improve the linebacking core, I think that's a really good move. But I don't think the defensive line or the linebacking core is really the right move in that first round at pick 7, because I don't think there's anyone that's really worth the 7th overall pick. Maybe a corner like Caleb Farley or Patrick Surtain is worth it, but I don't think that the Lions' needs really match up with getting another corner. So really, for me, if you're going to go defense for the Detroit Lions at number 7, it's pretty much Micah Parsons or no one. But I don't like the character issues that are apparently a problem or have been a problem in the past. That kind of scares me when you're drafting a first-round pick. That will make Micah Parsons fall. So really, if you're the Detroit Lions, it's all about either getting a franchise quarterback if you decide to trade Matthew Stafford, which is what it looks like, or you go out and get a wide receiver to really, add a dimension to this offense, especially if you're losing Marvin Jones Jr., Kenny Golladay, and maybe Danny Amendola. Don't quote me on that one, though. But really, for me, if you're the Detroit Lions, you got to go for a franchise quarterback. It's all in for a franchise quarterback. Matthew Stafford, trade him away, get what you can draft capital-wise, and then rebuild for the future. If you go get your quarterback now, then you add some pieces in free agency and in the next few drafts, then you can have a legit shot at, being a contender in the next 2-3 years. There are good quarterbacks in this first round. This is a good quarterback draft when we look at it. If I'm the Detroit Lions, I would consider definitely trading up for Zach Wilson or Justin Fields because I think they could really be players to build around for the future in the next 10, 15 years. If you watch Justin Fields or Zach Wilson in college, they were absolutely fantastic. Personally, I like Fields a little bit more than Zach Wilson, but if Zach Wilson slid to 7, or if he slid to 3 or 4, I think the Lions should really consider going up and trading for a quarterback. Go out and get your quarterback. Go out and get your franchise quarterback, and then just let the process and let the rebuilding phase of the Detroit Lions just continue and keep on going. And then if you get some more draft capital by trading away Matt Stafford, you'll be able to get some linebackers in the 2nd, 3rd round, get a receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round. There are good 2nd round receivers in this draft. There's good linebacking depth in this draft. There's some good players in this draft where you can build a team. But it's going to really be, how can you get that quarterback? I think this draft is the draft to do it because there's some really good quarterback prospects, and I don't think the Detroit Lions can afford to miss out on some of those guys. And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I would really appreciate it. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, see ya.